All right, well, welcome to day 24 of me bringing daily videos to you about how I've been living out of this Subaru Forester for the past 17 months now. And I'm starting off the day filming today kind of mid-afternoon. I don't have a watch, I don't even know why I looked. But kind of mid-afternoon, because I had plans to bring a whole different video to you. I was going to give you a car tour of what this car looked like on day one to what it looks like after day 400 something of living out of it. And I was all prepared to do that. And then I got here and I realized, oh wait, tomorrow I'm doing a big suspension upgrade to the car. So why don't I just wait until after I get that suspension upgrade, because that'll be a really big thing to this car. And so the car will look different and everything from day one again to day tomorrow. So I'm gonna hold off on that video. And today I thought I would talk a little bit more about just general safety on the road. You know, how do I stay safe? Do I carry a gun? That is a big question I get asked all the time. Do you carry? So I'm going to go through all the ways in which a solo traveler like myself stays safe on the road. All right, I think I might have tennis elbow. I woke up a couple weeks ago and right here in my arm is pretty sore. Everything I look up points that this probably is from something called tennis elbow, but of course you don't have to play tennis to get it. They said that you can actually get it quite often just from a lot of computer work, and I mean, that's literally all I do is just work on a computer when I need to work. So I'm gonna do some like rehab stuff I found online, try that, see if it works. Oh man, whew. Yeah, that one's definitely hitting it. Oh gosh. Oh man. It hurts, but it actually feels good too. Weird. Oh gosh. Yeah, on top of having tennis elbow, I've had a tear in my rotator cuff for like 15 years, and I don't do enough stretches on that either. So I'm working on all of the things that are broken on me today. All right, I'm a solo traveler. I'm traveling the country. I'm in new places all the time. How do I stay safe? Well, I'm gonna go ahead and address the big question that I get asked all the time is, do you carry a gun? Now, I'm all about having a gun, but what I'm not about is carrying a gun if you do not know how to properly handle a gun. And that's my problem. I've only shot a gun 3 times in my entire life. I do not know the proper handling of a weapon. I certainly don't know how to take a weapon apart. I don't know what to do if one jams. Every state has different laws when it comes to carrying guns in your car. So for me, in my safety, I chose not to buy a gun because I didn't feel that that was really going to solve anything. Personally, I've never felt threatened in any situation. And if I do, I have ways to protect myself, which I'll talk about in a little bit. But it was really just more the fact that I'd be carrying a loaded weapon across state lines. Different states have different laws requiring loaded weapons. Again, I don't know the proper handling of a weapon. I personally would love to take a class one day and know how to properly handle a weapon and take it apart and do a ton of research about the right type of gun for a first-time ownership. And I've done a little bit of that stuff, and I think it's all great. But I've just never devoted the time nor the money into it, because taking a gun class is already at least $100 or $200, and then the gun itself is $300 to $400. And I just think it's just For me and my safety, I just would want to really know how to handle a gun before I just went out and bought a gun just for safety. And then what happens when I need to use it and I don't really know how to use it well? It's probably going to be worse on me than it's going to be on some intruder. So for me and my safety, again, I just don't carry one. I do have other ways to protect myself though. All right, so I don't carry a gun, but what do I do to protect myself in case something actually happens? Well, first off, I'm gonna go ahead and just let you in on a big secret. I'm not really in that many dangerous situations. I'm in very remote places by myself a lot. And I know that scares people because they mostly live in probably cities or some sort of urbanized area where there's multiple people around and they feel like if something goes wrong, there's help. The reality is, chances are, if something goes wrong, it was caused by another person doing harm to you than it was anything else. When I'm out in a very remote place by myself, the worst things that are going to happen are probably something to my car. Of course, there are things like animal attacks, but that's incredibly rare. The only kind of attacks that generally happen are humans trying to attack humans for whatever reason. Maybe someone wants to try to steal something in the car. Maybe someone wants to try to steal something on you. But when I'm in a remote area, that's so less likely to happen than it would be in an urbanized area where there's tens of thousands, probably hundreds of thousands of people. The people I come across when I'm in remote places are just other car dwellers, van dwellers, RV dwellers, people who are doing the exact same thing I'm doing. They're just out here trying to live off the land and trying to just get away from things. They're not going to rob you or anything because they have everything they need. And honestly, where are they going to put something? If someone steals something from me, where are they going to put it? They're in probably a smaller setup than me. Animal attacks. Well, of course, that is a reality. You can get attacked by an animal, but that, again, is so less likely to happen than it is a human. A human is going to do harm to you because they physically want something that you have. But an animal would probably only attack you because they're just trying to get food from you. So the biggest thing I do when it comes to remote camping in remote areas is I just keep my campsite very clean. I don't keep garbage outside. I don't even keep my shoes outside. I don't keep anything with any kind of smells that would go out into the air that would attract animals in. Now, if I am camping in a very remote place, with say bear country, and I'm having to say cook out of the back of my car, and that is putting a big smell into the air that animals would be attracted to, like bears, well, I do have bear spray in the car. In fact, I have 3 canisters of bear spray, and they are all within arm's length away from each other. I can always get to one of them, no matter if I'm sitting in my driver's seat, if I'm laying in my bed, or if I'm cooking. I can always get to some canister of bear spray for protection. Now, a lot of people would say, don't you want a gun versus bear spray to protect yourself from bears? That's got to be better. Well, I would say do your own research about that, but I've done my research about it, and 9 times out of 10, everyone will tell you that bear spray is so much more effective than a gun for several reasons. First off, all the reasons I just mentioned with a gun, you really need to know how to fire a weapon properly in order to hit a moving target, especially if you have an adrenaline rush like a charging animal at you. The chances of you missing a bear while it's charging at you is a lot higher than spraying bear spray. Bear spray is designed to create a wall, a barrier between you and the bear, that once that smell hits the bear's nose, it's going to turn around. It shoots up to 30 feet. A bullet is only this big, and if you don't hit your target, it's probably going to still keep coming at you. It doesn't create an actual barrier. Plus, bear spray is $45 a canister. A gun is several $100s. And again, it takes lots and lots of practice to make sure you can hit a moving target. Now, again, I'm not going to go into a big debate about it. Everyone's going to have their safety measures and everyone's going to have the things that they're comfortable with. If you know how to fire a weapon really properly and you're in a place like grizzly country, which I am never in, then yeah, absolutely carry a gun. But for me, the chances of me being around bears are more like black bears than brown bears, and black bears are so much more docile. The only way they're probably going to attack you is if you do something stupid to them or just flat out startle them. All right, well, let's talk about car safety, because something happening to the car is a lot higher than something happening to me. So what happens if the car decides not to start up one day, or I get a flat tire? How do I protect myself from those things happening? Well, first off, I think everyone should have some sort of portable battery jumper. I don't care if you're doing a lot of off-grid camping like me, or you live in a city, this thing can absolutely save your day. They make them in all sorts of different models. This one is specifically made for small cars like mine, but it comes with the alligator clamps and it's very simple to use. You connect it to the battery jumper, you connect the battery jumper to the battery, then you hit the power on and it delivers enough amperage to the car that it'll jumpstart your car. Now I have used this in the past, and every single time I've had to use it, I immediately charge it right away so I know it's good to go the next time. Because the worst case scenario is that your car doesn't start up, all you have is a dead battery, and you need to jump it, but this thing isn't charged. It's not going to do you any good. So I always charge this up. It's a lithium-ion battery, and it charges in just a few hours. Now I also carry just regular battery cables, so if this thing is not with me, it's not charged, or it's just not doing the job, I can actually connect to another car and have that car jump me that way as well. Okay, but what if I'm by myself, I'm not having car problems, but I'm just lost, and there's no cell phone connection, so I can't get any kind of maps on my phone to get directions to anywhere? Well, I actually carry a road atlas. A paper road atlas, and this is all 50 states. So I've actually had to use this a few times, and I do like having this as a backup plan. But on top of that, I actually have 3 mapping apps on my phone. I have Apple Maps, which comes with your phone. I have Google Maps, but I also use a third mapping app, and that's called Here We Go. Now, it's a general directional app to just get you from point A to point B. It's honestly not that great. The Google Maps or Apple Maps are way, way better. But what I like about Here We Go is I can actually download an entire state for offline use. So what I'll do before I head to a new state, like let's say I plan on going to New Mexico next week, I'll download all of New Mexico for offline use. So that way, if I ever get down some back road like this and I'm trying to get to a camp spot or a trailhead, or I'm just lost somewhere, I can actually pull up Here We Go and get me directions for where I need to go. Also on Apple Maps or Google Maps, you can download an entire section for offline use. You can't download an entire state to the best of my knowledge. Let's say that I know I'm gonna head to a remote area, maybe a national forest or something like that, and I know I'm probably not gonna have very good cell coverage. I'll actually download that entire section in offline maps on Google Maps, Apple Maps, so I can also get around through those mapping apps. But I do like having the Here We Go as a backup plan, because in case I forget to do that on Google Maps or Apple Maps, I now have the entire state on Here We Go. And of course I have the road atlas if I really need to. But on top of all that, I have Starlink, so honestly, all that probably doesn't matter as much for me anymore, because if I was ever get in a situation where I'm just lost completely, then almost any time I can just hook up the Starlink and get directions on my phone, and I'd be set. But if you don't have Starlink, download Here We Go, the app. It's free. Download an entire state for offline use. Download all your offline use onto Apple Maps, Google Maps, whatever you choose to use for sections that you know you're gonna be traveling to. And you really should be carrying a road atlas no matter where you are. And honestly, with today's technology, it's honestly easier than ever to be safe on the road by yourself. For starters, I'm always sharing my location with my family and friends, so everyone always knows where I am. And every single night, and I mean every single night, I text my exact coordinates to my mom. That way, if she doesn't hear from me for some reason in the next couple of days, she knows that she can always go back to those coordinates and contact local authorities if that was the scenario. And speaking of making it easier with technology nowadays, I just got a new phone, and my phone now actually has a 2-way satellite communicator built into it. And this has actually happened a few times where I've been camping off grid and there was no cell phone connections. And again, I can connect to Starlink, but now I don't even have to. If I just want to send a text message to somebody, all I have to do is point my phone up to the sky, it connects to one of the satellites, and now I have a 2-way communicator where I can text family, friends, or I could even text emergency services if necessary. Now, for years, companies have been making these little 2-way communicators. They're about the size of a really small walkie-talkie, and they're built for backpackers, you know, staying in the backcountry for several nights or even several weeks at a time. And they do the same thing. They connect to satellites, and they're a 2-way communicator. You can text emergency services or your location and what's going on. They do have a monthly or annual service associated with them, but if that's your thing, you want to do a lot of backpacking, that's probably a better way to go, because those have days, if I'm not mistaken, maybe weeks of battery life, whereas my phone's really only gonna last a day. All right, well, that's really it. Those are the ways that I stay safe on the road. And I know a lot of people are probably saying, yeah, but you're a guy, it's a lot easier for you than a woman traveling by herself. And obviously I'm not a woman. I'm not gonna speak for every woman who travels by themselves, but I have met women who travel by themselves, and they've never said that they feel any more stressed or not safe any more than me. I'll actually share a story with you just to show you how much more I've been comfortable with traveling by myself than when I first started out. My first month or so on the road, I was traveling through Texas, and I was at a little camp spot for the night, and I made my way up this little hill to where there's a fire ring, and I said, oh, that's a great spot, I'll stay here for the night. Now I noticed as I got up there that it was a spot that was kind of secluded from down the hill. You couldn't really see me unless you made your way up the hill, and I even pointed out to myself that you really wouldn't see me until you got up the hill, and then if you decided, oh wait, there's somebody up there, like you're trying to claim that spot for camping and you saw that I was up there, in order to turn around, you would have to come all the way up the hill to where I was and then turn around. There was not a way to really turn around on the little hill. So I went ahead and went for it because it was a great spot. I had a fire going, and finally it was time for me to crawl into my teardrop trailer. Again, this is a couple years ago, back when I had my teardrop. So I was in my teardrop, I'm there for the night, and all of a sudden I start hearing an engine, a car getting closer to me. I look out to my window of my teardrop and I see headlights coming my way. And I freaked because it was the first time that anybody had really come close to my campsite. So as the car got closer to my campsite, I started freaking out and I grabbed a can of bear spray. I said, oh my gosh, I might have to protect myself. I don't know why I thought this, but I did. They weren't saying anything, they weren't honking their horn, they weren't yelling, they certainly weren't waving any guns or anything at me, but I immediately went into protect mode and I grabbed the bear spray. And all that happened was the guys came around the camp, turned around, and left. Because like I said, you couldn't turn around if you're on the hill. Once you got up there in the dark and you saw that someone was up there already, just be like, oh, I guess we'll just turn around. And that's what they did. And now it's happened to me a few times where I've been camped by myself in a place like Death Valley National Park, for example. I was actually camped by myself, and around 10 o'clock at night, a car pulls up to my camp spot and gets right behind me, and I hear them getting out of the car, so I got out, and again, I had bear spray in the car. I was at arm's length away. I got out of the car and I kept my hand close to the bear spray so I knew I could get to it, but I really wouldn't feel threatened. They just got out of the car and I thought, well, maybe it's probably just a ranger or something just coming to check on me. And it was actually another camper coming by and just asking about questions about camping in the area because it's 10 o'clock at night and you're in a very, very dark place. And I said, oh yeah, you can just go up the street a little bit and you'll find other spots. So again, you get a little bit more comfortable as you've been doing this a little bit longer. I would say put those safety measures in place. You know how to protect yourself. Should you ever feel threatened with any kind of weapons that you feel, whether it be guns or bear spray, mace, knives, baseball bats, pickaxe, whatever you choose, but also have those safety measures for your car. I forgot to mention, my car insurance also has roadside assistance that would actually come pick me up if I needed to. It can tow me to a place if needed to. So there's always that as well. And there's probably a slew of other things you could do just for safety, especially when it comes to your car, that I probably forgot about. But those are my little tips and advice. Tomorrow, day 25 of my 30-day series. It's a big one. I am going to go ahead and do a suspension upgrade on this car, something that has been needed since day one. You can see how low the tire is between the car and the tire. I desperately need this suspension upgrade. So tomorrow's a big day for me. I can't wait to show you that. Until then, thanks for escaping normal life with me.